It being 6 p.m., I'm going to call the April 27, 2026 meeting of the Ojai Valley Sanitary District Board of Directors to order. Can we get a roll call, please, Allison?
Director Curtis.
Here.
Director Martinson.
Here.
Director Kintosh.
Here.
Director Berg.
Here.
Director Quillisi.
Here.
Director Reed.
Here.
And Chair Ulrich.
Here. Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. Ask Director Martinson. Ready? Begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag. United
Somebody's
States
got a mic open down
the
there.
Republic stands one nation, God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Good. Hey. This being a regular meeting, do we have any additions or amendments to the agenda? Okay. Do we have any public concerns? Anyone waiting online?
Michael, if he has anything to say.
Someone identified as Michael is showing up on the screen. Are you waiting to make a public comment? Okay, hearing no response, I will observe that there are no members of the public in the boardroom. So we will move on to the consent calendar. Consent items. They'll be considered in a single motion and voted on without discussion. And does anyone want to remove any item or any questions about any of the items?
I'll move approval of 6, 7, and 8.
Second.
Director Curtis. Jack.
Consent items, Jack.
Picture's frozen, I think.
No, I think Jack, I'm doing roll call for consent items. Come back around. Director Martinson.
Yes.
Kintosh.
Yes.
Berg.
Yes.
Director Quillisi.
Yes.
And Director Reed. And Chair Ulrich.
Yes.
Jack, I'm doing roll call. I'm
There
doing
must be a mic
so-
open, because I hear a lot of talking.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm doing
But there's
voting for
there's gotta be a
consent items.
mic open somewhere, because I hear talking.
It happens where he's getting the feedback from his TV.
We're voting on the consent calendar right now, Jack.
Well, I vote yes.
Thank you.
Jack, do you have any electronic devices, a TV or anything like that that's on nearby?
No,
Okay, I'm just talking about, thinking about feedback. Okay, well, we don't have any, we have just the only room microphone, which is the only one. Okay, in that case, we'll move to action item number 9. Proposed restated ordinance number OVSD-87, amending the District Code of Regulations, adopting new thresholds for policies and procedures governing public project contracts, professional service contracts, the purchase of supplies, equipment, and services, and the disposal of surplus property. Item A is conduct a second reading by title only of restated ordinance number OVSD-65, amending the District Code of Regulations, adopting new thresholds for those reference policies and procedures. B is conduct a public hearing, and C would be adopt the restated ordinance. So at this point, we're opening that portion of the public hearing relevant to the second reading of OVSD-7.
65.
It's
Excuse me, 65.
Sorry, that's a typo.
Okay,
And then I'll read the ordinance by title only, just so.
Please.
Ojai Valley Sanitary District restated ordinance number OVSD 65, an ordinance adopting policies and procedures governing public project contracts, professional service contracts, the purchase of supplies, equipment, services, and the disposal of surplus property.
Have any,
Maybe
Comment or-
Michael wants to talk about this one.
Michael, are you here to talk about this item number 9? Okay, do we have any else? Anybody want to make any comment, or that's the extent of the second reading?
Close the public hearing. I opened it at 6:06, and then you'll tell me when you want to close, and I'll.
Well, it seems to me I'm close it now. So.
Yep.
Okay.
Right, very good. All right, so that was a procedural effort. Need to be was reread. Okay, so now we're on action item number 10, final budget for the fiscal year 2026-2027.
No,
We need to go back to 9.
hold on.
You need to go back and yeah, adopt the actual
Number,
ordinance.
it's item C,
You know-
so.
I don't know if anybody's paid any attention to this methodology of mine. By moving past it, everyone corrects me and we get right to what we need to do.
Human nature.
Well, I got to do what it works. So I guess we need a roll call then, yes?
A motion. and-
Motion, that's right. Who's going to,
I move we so adopt.
fabulous,
I'll second.
right? Now we have a motion and a second. Next, we have a roll call.
Director Curtis? Jack, you're on mute. On mute, Jack.
We can't hear you.
I'll go back around. Director Martinson?
Yes.
Director Kintosh?
Yes.
Director Byrd?
Yes.
Director Quillisi?
Yes.
Director Reed?
Yes.
Chair Ulrich?
Yes.
Jack, can you unmute, please?
Consider this an abstain and move.
I think we will.
Hey.
Yeah.
All righty then. Okay, now we can move to item 10, final budget fiscal year 2026-27 adoption. Let's see, we have sub items A through F. Adopt the presented final budget for fiscal year 2026-27 that includes a 28.25 increase in the service rate. And direct staff to present a rate ordinance reflecting the proposed rate increase at the May 26, 2026 meeting for the first reading thereof, and set a hearing date for the second reading and public hearing for the ordinance on June 15, 2026, and direct staff to mail on or before 1 May 2026 a written notice of public hearing regarding proposed sewer service fees, rates, and charges to all property owners within the district to adhere to the requirements of Proposition number 218. And E, authorize staff to implement the decisions embodied in the adopted final budget for fiscal year 2026-27, and direct staff to continue managing the capital improvement plan by initiating and presenting the Board of Funding authorization individual projects as appropriate. Okay, do we have questions or discussion?
I want to say thank you for putting part of the bottom line up front.
I'd like to move for approval 10A through F.
Second.
Second.
Director Curtis? Got to get him off mute for this one somehow.
Jack, can you unmute, please? We're voting. You're muted right now.
Okay, how's that?
There, perfect.
Jack, we're voting on the approval of the budget.
Item 10.
Well, I got somebody talking all the time.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm doing a roll call vote for the approval of the budget.
I'll vote yes.
Thank you. Did I already? Sorry, I'm so lost.
You were just starting.
Okay, great. Director Martinson.
Yes.
Director Kintosh.
Yes.
Bird.
Yes.
Pelosi.
Yes.
Director Reed.
Yes.
And Chair Ulrich.
Yes. All right, item 11, vehicle purchases, budget adjustment for 2026-20. A, authorize staff to purchase a new light-duty pickup truck for a cost not to exceed the total price of $37,000 even. B, authorize staff to purchase a new small SUV for a cost not to exceed the total price of $36,000 even. C, declare the Ford Edge and the Ford Explorer to be surplus property and authorize the general manager to dispose of it in accordance with the purchasing policy. And D, adopt budget adjustment number 2026-20, transferring $73,000 from the vehicle replacement reserve into the major expenditures administration to provide funding for the purchase of these vehicles. Okay. Question?
Yes.
Comment?
I would like to question item A. I asked the question since if you look at page 103 of the packet, it shows from Sourcewell 2 different bids for a Ford Maverick, one for front-wheel drive, I guess it is, one for all-wheel drive. And it seemed to me that an all-wheel drive, particularly if we're going to have heavy rain events and items of that sort, we're better off with an all-wheel drive. And I would recommend under A, have a cost not to exceed 38,000, which is enough to cover the all-wheel drive Maverick. It's an extra $1,000. The front-wheel drive is way under the 37,000. If we move 37 to 38, we could buy the all-wheel drive truck, which I think would better serve the district.
How do you know these prices?
Look at
You say what kind of truck it is.
It's a Ford Maverick. If you look, if you have the packet,
Oh.
it's on page 103 of the packet. There's a table titled light duty pickup truck. And it has 5 bids from Sourcewell and Oxnard Ford, Thousand Oaks Toyota, and Swickard Chevrolet, wherever that is.
We consider light duty. What are we anticipating this thing running around in the mud? Or are we just gonna have it on the streets of the city?
I anticipate it being mostly on the streets in the city. I mean, if there's a torrential downpour and there's mud across the road, or there's an emergency similar to what happened in 23 and 24, it's going to be going down some slick paved roads.
I've got no objection to doing it. I was just curious what we really thought it was gonna be.
I would submit that you're for 95% of what you're pretty sure of, and then there's got to be some factor where it might be needed, called for, and don't have it, you may get stuck. But also from a practical perspective, when it finally gets declared surplus property, it's going to be worth a little bit more. We just call that trade-in value or resale value, or however it gets disposed of. So I think a portion of that additional equipment would come back, and I think it's justified from a small amount.
I looked at the table and I noted that the last truck that we bought was a Ford Maverick, and I can't, that was for, maybe it was for Liz's department or something, I don't remember.
Inspector.
Or the inspector, that was it, okay. It seems to me that the more we can concentrate where we get our maintenance done, better off we're gonna be. So I looked at the two Ford Maverick bids, and one is below 37,000, above, but not by much.
They're a little tough. They're always, it's like a moving target. Where we did it slightly above the lowest couple of bids.
Yeah. Understand. And if we say, I would propose to change 11A, to read 38,000. Or 37.5, or whatever we want to do to cover the cost of 37,271.
How, melody of, surplus. Is it some, are they sometimes traded in, or how are they disposed of?
Yeah, typically, the district has always traded in every vehicle.
It's because it's under the threshold. And so a lot of what we've been getting rid of actually cannot be resold in California. So really our only
Easily.
option is to trade it in. I think in these particular instances, we've already kind of blue booked it and figured that trade-in is probably going to be the best option. Disposing of it otherwise can be relatively costly with publications and staff time. It doesn't make it worth the
Okay.
extra
So having said,
$1,000.
having said that, then, well, there's all the impetus on the identified dealer, make the deal. Price considering a trade-in,
Which Sourcewell doesn't directly do trade-ins.
but they have a methodology, means of a
Like
workaround.
yeah, there is a workaround. Which we have not done before. That's why I'm not super familiar with it, but they
You
do.
know, had some challenges with Sourcewell actually procuring vehicles. We are required to actually get a price from them as the actual source of state contract. It is very hard to procure vehicles from them in a
They're-
timely manner.
Moving target, are they?
Well, I mean, we've never actually been able to get one, even though we've ordered one. So tend to get a more competitive price after all from somewhere. Start looking.
And that's usually, I mean, keeping it in the county or keeping it reasonable, even if it's just over the county line, to me is a desirable approach.
That's kind of our hope with this, is we can get the authority to trade in the vehicles and then shop and get as good of a deal as we can.
I think we should go with the,
Do we want to just add 1,000 to it to be safe?
Yeah, and then-
8,000?
That lets us cover the Sourcewell all-wheel drive bid. Is there a real problem getting vehicles from them? Could we
You
bump it
order-
up a little bit more?
we're gonna have a local person who's gonna have to be, a dealership's gonna have to be competitive with Sourcewell to land sale. And that's as it should be.
Okay. I would agree with that principle. The question is, the only other Ford Maverick bid that we got was Schnard, another $2,000.
You know, somebody will wind up doing some horse trading, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
The dealership said they would trade us in $1 for the Edge. And they said that
Okay.
We have a motion then? Any further conversation, question?
Well, I'll make a motion then that we approve 11A through D with the change to 11A to make it 38,000.
Second, and therefore the total is 74, right?
And it's 74 instead of 73. Oh, and D says 74 instead of 73, yes.
Yep, correct.
And I second.
Jack, I'm doing roll call for vehicle purchase. Jack, can you unmute? Let me come back around. Director Martinson,
Yes.
Director Kentosh, Director Byrd,
Yes.
Quillisi,
Yes.
Director Reed,
Yes.
Chair Ulrich.
Yes.
Jack, can you hear me? You're on mute.
We can't hear you.
Stay and move on.
All right. Item number 12, CCC valve replacement, contract number 2026-01, budget adjustment number 2026-18.
Sure. For your consideration is a contract to have Toro Enterprise install 2 valves at the chlorine contact chamber down at the wastewater treatment plant. We bid out the project and they were the low bidder. We've confirmed that they will honor this price. And I think it's in the best interest to do it. It's what it allows us to do is frankly to replace 2 existing valves that are not working properly. And we need to have them working properly.
Why Toro is so low?
I don't know. Liz may know.
I'm not sure. I emailed them and called them, to make sure that they thought that they could do it on budget and on time, and they did. They have all bidders had to come to the site and inspect it. I think they did it quickly. And really, it's a maximum of 2 real working days because we do have to do shutdown. They have 2 12-hour windows to do the work, so other than like prep and that's all it's gonna be.
Okay,
I can tell you, having been a bidder much more often than one receiving bids. If I had a really good year, got a lot more business than I had expected, and covered all of my fixed costs with the business that I have coming in, then I can really shoot low on everything that comes in toward the end of that year. My fixed costs are already covered. It happens a lot.
Or you can hire just because you.
Or I could bid higher if I don't really want the work, but I want to seem responsive. Yes.
It's a job.
Which rarely happens.
Make a motion for items A, CCC valve replacement.
Second.
Allison?
Director Curtis,
Yeah.
Director Martinson,
Yes.
Director Kintush,
Yes.
Director Bird,
Yes.
Director Quillisi,
Yes.
Director Reed,
Yes.
and Chair Ulrich.
Yes. Hey. Item number 13, consulting services, oxidation ditch monitoring, contract number 2026-02. Budget adjustment number 2026-19.
Sure. We have 2 oxidation ditches down at the treatment plant. One was constructed in 95, and I think the second one was 96. They were both online in 97. The one that was constructed first, which was the farther western, was constructed with what is believed to be reactive aggregate, ASR. What that means is there's an oxidation process that's happening with the cement. It's causing the aggregate, the silica in the aggregate to expand, and it's cracking ditches. We see it substantially more on the western. We see a small version of it on the eastern. It was looked at in 2018 by a geotech. One of the recommendations of the geotech in 2018 was to do crack monitoring. And crack monitoring is where they put fixed points on it. There's gauges that go amongst the cracks, and they can measure to quantify how the cracks are propagating and to what degree. The idea also is to try to determine why are these cracks forming? Is it just the ASR? Are they getting worse when one ditch is filled or versus when it's empty? Is it changing based off of groundwater levels or soil moisture content? Those are all questions that we don't know. So for your consideration is this crack monitoring. It is expensive at $54,000, but I would like to note that we're not looking to necessarily do it monthly. What we're looking to do is monitor it when there's changes to the conditions of it. If we go through another, like where it sits right now, it's been filled for months. The soil moisture underneath it is wet. I think we can get a good baseline right now. If we were to drain it for summer operations, we probably would want to get another monitoring event to see if that changed it, if it was based off of the weight that was within the oxidation ditch. The same thing is if we get a big rain year and things become even more saturated, I think it would be worthwhile to understand that.
The photographs in the board packet were rather dramatic. I mean, those cracks are pretty scary. I have to commend you for bringing that to us. If it looks like it needs to be fixed sooner rather than later, I'm afraid.
Understood. I think if you were to ask me what we're looking at as far as order of magnitude, the worst case scenario is that it's going to have to be completely rehabilitated, which is in the tune of $10-ish million, right? I think that was what you'd be looking at. If you could
Replace one of the ditches?
Yeah, I mean, yes, to replace one of the ditches. I mean, if someone came back and said, no, it's 7.8 million, I don't know that I would argue with that, but I think that's the order of magnitude that you're looking at. It's a decent piece of infrastructure. It's size large. Now, on the flip side of it is the walls are 18 inches wide, and I look at that. I'm not a structural engineer, but I think you could probably get away with 9. So if it's split down the middle, you still kind of have one wall that may get you there too. I think it's important that we understand what's going on and we understand, are we looking at millions of dollars decades down the road, or are we looking at a different number sooner? Right now, we don't know.
We'd be looking at something analogous to relining the trunk line, where you put a coat
It's possible, yeah.
on that wall.
I think those are all possibilities.
What's that outline on the
They call that, that's called a beam pocket. And so when they construct it, what you can't see is there's almost think of the ditch as if this table, and there would be a beam that ran between the two. And the beam pocket so what you're looking at is you're looking at the butt end of the beam as it protrudes through and it's finished off on the outside. And so that beam lays all the way through the wall from either side of it. You're looking at the butt end of that.
A beam now?
It's right. It's there.
On the other side of that.
It goes through under, it's part of the decking of the overlaying structure. Yeah. The decking's there.
I've got to come down and take a look at it, but this longitudinal crack in a reinforced concrete structure like that, reactive aggregate doesn't come to mind, because reactive aggregate usually first manifests itself, at least in my experience, in superficial spalling, because you've got the aggregate throughout the section, and the stuff gets wet the most starts to react the most. But when I've seen this in structural, that usually means to me that the entire section of concrete has gotten saturated, which some concretes, intended and can withstand that. But the cracking has a tendency of tracking along the reinforcement. As a consequence of the reinforcement, I'm sure when this went in, it was spec epoxy coated rebar. I might be wrong on that, but that's been around a long time. But if it wasn't epoxy coated, that even indicate to me that it's gotten saturated and there's a certain amount of chemical reactivity involved in, it's not the lime in the concrete mix itself, it's also the material that's being put through the ditch, and it's saturating into the concrete and it's causing erosion, rust, which just causes the bar to expand, and that will cause cracks like that. That's quite common.
Looks a little bit like spalling.
Yeah, yeah, but when it's, that also to me looks like the end of a reinforced section. That's where it's like the end grain of wood, concrete, the tendency of having the moisture and the chemicals sucked out of the end. So you get a lot more activity in those locations. If that's the case, I mean, you're not just looking at monitoring cracks, you're trying to evaluate whether what's going on internally is and if that's the case, if it is the rebar, you have a lifespan on it, but you ultimately only cure for it is to replace it. Even covering it only will give you a Band-Aid for a short period of time, like was done with concrete or something analogous.
To cover all the cracks so no more water gets in.
Because the water typically, two things are happening here. Once you have a crack, that means water's coming in whenever it rains anyway.
Yeah.
But source for that water is probably the saturation material or the substrata being sucked up through it. Because what happens is you have a differential in temperature, and moisture. Outside, we have nice warm sunny weather. You have moisture either against it or beneath it. Moisture gets sucked through it, and that's when you get the activity with the constituent components of the would that it were Roman concrete. You know, last 2,000 years and it still works. But they didn't have any rebar. So, I don't know if you can determine from a design, go back in the whatever and see if it was epoxy coated, but there's another issue. It depends on what the spec was for the epoxy coated. And then the biggest issue is whenever it's installed and the bar is cut, it's supposed to be treated with epoxy wherever there was bare metal exposed. And that is a function of inspection and doesn't always occur. And if it doesn't occur, you get a result like this too. So, I think we have to do the monitoring, but I think in the course of it, the name of the, once again, the name of the company is
Tires.
yeah. I'd ask them whether they, I really asked the question because to me, this doesn't look like reactive aggregate. It looks to me like the rebar's blown up. And I'd ask them if they considered that as far as their monitoring scope. But, you know, if it winds up being something major that does require a lot of dollars down the road, you got to start by point assessing it and monitoring to justify the later determination.
Replacement.
Anybody
Okay,
else have any?
I'll move approval of 13A and B.
Second.
All right, very good. Listen, please.
Director Curtis? Jack, can you unmute, please? Director Martinson?
Yes.
Director Kintosh?
Yes.
Bird?
Yes.
Director Pelosi?
Yes.
Director Reed?
Yes.
Chair Ulrich?
Yes.
Jack, can you unmute?
You need a sign.
Jack, we're voting. You unmute?
Be frozen this time.
Um, Item number 14, root control by Duke's Root Control, contract number 2026-03, budget adjustment number 2026-21.
So this is a nearly an annual root control that the district does where they inject they add, it's a foam that goes in that dissipates the roots, causes the roots to dry out. It's very typical. This year we've done it slightly at a different time. Historically, we've kind of done it into the fall time. The problem with doing it in the fall is we get large flows in the late fall and early winter, and it washes the foam off the inside of the pipe. And so, we've brought it up at a different time this year. The idea being is we think that the rains are likely done and the flows won't be washing off the inside, and perhaps we get even better performance than what we've had before.
And this, what foam desiccant, shall we say, doesn't affect the beneficial bugs.
It could, but we have an absolute limitation on the amount that we apply on a daily basis. We monitor that. And so there's been over the course of years, there's been two monitoring methodology. One is that they've monitored for years down at the treatment plant to see what the concentrations are. It's not inexpensive to monitor that. The flip side is we've also kept track of the lay lengths that they do. And we have a correlation between lay lengths and what's absolutely acceptable down there and doesn't cause anything. So in lieu of doing the expensive testing, we're just going to stick to a maximum lay length per day so that we don't disrupt the bugs.
Questions or comments?
I noticed that Duke's is out of state. They must have a certified application contractor here in the county or somewhere nearby.
Duke's
We fly somebody in.
Duke's travels around the world. The team that was here last year was from Albany, New York. And they are specialists that they travel across the nation. That's what they do. They're absolute specialists that are trained to do this. But yes, they
Fly in for it.
or they drive or they've got another they schedule things in and they make it work. Yeah.
They're per diem artists. Okay.
It's all in the bid, I'm sure.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion for item 14, root control by Duke's Root. Say,
I'll second.
Good. Awesome.
Director Curtis,
You're muted.
every time we hear him, he's. Director Martinson?
Yes.
Director Kintosh? Director Bird? Quillisi? Director Reed?
Yes.
Ulrich? Jack, can you hear me?
yes,
I'm doing roll call for item number 14.
well, they finally got that off by hearing. And I vote yes on Duke. We've been using them for over 30 years.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jack.
Item number 15, consolidation of district election, resolution number 2026-02.
Okay, so this is a election period housekeeping item, if you will. This is where we formally request from the county to consolidate our election with the general election in November. This year we have districts 2, 4, and 6 up for reelection, and then to Reed up for reelection for the remainder of the term that he was appointed to. And then you'll full reelection, your full term, the correct schedule thereafter. So
Four of us this time.
I'll move for staff's recommendation.
okay, hold on one second. So anyway, so this will be, if approved, will be sent to the county. They will start the work. We are getting into election season. I've talked to Director Quillisi a couple of times. You'll start getting emails from county elections and from me. Just remember that they handle most of all of the paperwork. They like for you to come down and they walk you through the entire process to make sure that it's accurate and that there's nothing missing. And it's actually been really helpful for us. So I will let you know as I hear anything when they're open to setting up appointments.
I think I heard Director Curtis move of item 15.
So,
Second. I'll move for staff recommendations.
thank you. I got that. Who
Thank you, Jack.
wants to be my second? Director Curtis,
Yes.
Director Martinson,
Yes.
Bird,
Yes.
Director Quillisi,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Chair Orr.
Yes. Okay. Then item 16, closed session item, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation.
Yes, we're going to now go into a closed session to confer with legal counsel on anticipated litigation, one case under Government Code Section 54956.9 D2. After the closed session, we'll reconvene in open session and note any reportable action that was taken.
Right, in that case, then it's 6:41 p.m. I'm going to close the regular session. Okay, let me know when it's.
Are ready. I don't see Michael. He's gonna call back in or not, but we are ready and we are recording.
Okay, then at 7:10, I'm gonna reopen the public session of the board meeting. And Dennis,
Yep, back in open session now. There is no action taken in closed session that's reportable.
okay, very good. All right. In that case, then we're going to move to information items 17 through 23. Do we have any monthly financial reports or monthly?
We do. They're embedded in here. It's part of the packet.
Page 223.
In summary, we have 8.8 million of non-discretionary assets available as the close of this report, which was March 31st. I'm sorry, non-discretionary. It's 6,085,000 of discretionary. It's on page 228.
Right. That's the financial, anything on the investment?
There is the summary of the investment reports are at page 333. Note we have 5 different investment funds that are yielding between 2.94%. That's at the Bank of the Sierra, and the highest is at the county at 4.26. That was back in March. I do caution that 4.26. I think that is one of the concerns with the county is that you don't get paid your interest in frankly quickly. It's delayed. How many weeks is it? Months delay. So what ends up happening, it adversely affects your compound, your continuous compounding. So there's a little bit of there should be an asterisk perhaps next to that 4.26. The other pools are very similar. The LAIF camp pool managed fund. But also of note, tomorrow or Wednesday, I forgot which day, another $785,000 is going to mature in the camp managed fund, and that will automatically revert back to the camp pool fund.
It relates tangentially to the investment situation. You need to agendize the issue about the $25,000 fee.
Yeah, maybe I can, yeah, this is a proper time to cover it. Yeah, so we're gonna be looking for a request for proposal, a request for qualifications of firms that may be better suited to an agency like ourselves, where we have the 10 to $14 million in assets and not the $25 million in assets. So that's in the process of being conducted right now. So my expectation is we'll have requests for qualifications, staff will look at everything. We may come back with a recommendation right from the get-go for the board's consideration. It's going to depend on what we receive. I think there are opportunities out there to hone this investment slightly.
In the meantime, we would just continuing that was paid and it's to a particular date certain.
Going to be, I've spoke with them. They will prorate it to when we end it. You cut the check at the end of the year to make yourself whole, right? So if for some reason we had a windfall and we had a ton of money in there, offset their expenses, that would be what's happened. So, but they have my conversation with them, and there's nothing in writing, but my conversations is that they would honor, if we hop out at this point, they would honor prorating it through.
Well, it's probably to do it November, so that by the time our December calendar year payment comes for the 25,000 that we're done, be no real proration.
There isn't any risk in having.
There'll be hardly any money in there, so essentially we'll have to take whatever is remaining out and put it into the camp fund. Should be a nominal amount really in there that hasn't matured by then.
Yeah, and that nominal amount is technically it's brokered at US Bank. I don't know if broker is perhaps the right word, but it's similar to a broker. And my point is those funds can stay at the ownership of OVSD and moved over and have a different fiduciary.
Transfer in kind. We don't have to liquidate and move cash.
Correct.
The custodian is US Bank.
The custodian, thank you.
Item 19, staff reports.
Illuminating again, every time something goes on at the tree. Nice to see a picture of it.
You're asking for comments as well?
Yes.
I just have one. I have a question for how many people fit safely use this room?
I mean, it gets say 30 probably. It gets a little packed when we put all of us in here. Just the configuration is a little odd. I'm gonna say 30.
I've seen meetings where there were 2 or 3 rows of chairs up against the wall.
Have we, I mean, we have a sizable rate increase that we, the budget's sizable. Rate increase is gonna be sizable. And honors those who once had 70 people. I wonder what happens if we overflow this room. We have to cancel a meeting and postpone it with a 15 minutes. That might be a headache.
We will make room for everybody. We'll figure that out.
And one means of accommodating people is you ask them to check their torches and pitchforks outside.
I was gonna ask you guys to think about that.
Have a satellite.
These days, it's more serious than torches.
I'm unfortunately, I'm optimistically antiquated in my,
In agricultural areas.
yes, I'm just, yeah.
I have to.
Then, on to then item 20, committee reports.
File in the individual committees. Approved.
Yes, any thing of note? Okay, all right. Then reports on meetings, seminars, and conferences attended.
Oh, we just had a committee meeting and learned that regulatory agency, which I guess is not taking a position on whether direct connection can be included. So we did not get a resolution on that. I don't think all the other board members know.
It was our 4 o'clock.
Yeah, that was our 4 o'clock, just a little while ago. So what that means is that we're going to continue operating as if our is correct and in compliance, and until we hear otherwise from some higher authority.
We may do another 2021. Refunds. Now, not getting any redirection from HC.
Right, and items of interest, correspondence, articles. General manager comment.
Yeah, I do want to thank the finance committee and the board for their constructive input during the budget. I know that there was a lot to go over there and I appreciate it. So on behalf of the staff, I thank you. I also want to recognize that Allison, Liz, Israel were very helpful and diligent in preparing the budgets. People held tight on schedules. They made good decisions. They sharpened the pencils when it came to the operations side of thing. I really do think that staff did a spectacular job, and I thank the staff for that. Thank you. Went over to the summer compliance at the wastewater treatment plant. Treatment plant's running on point right now. Last update I had, total nitrogen was at 2.4 milligrams per liter. So that's within our summer limits of about 3.0 to 3.1 on the what our flow is, because it's pounds based for the season. So that's working well. I also want to let the board know about some IT stuff. OVSD has received several bulletins from a group. It's the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. It's the new federal agency regarding that. They've issued a bunch of cybersecurity bulletins that foreign affiliate hackers are looking to disrupt American infrastructure. Being vigilant on it. Some of the things that we're seeing, and some of you maybe also, is that there's a phishing emails where you get strange emails that are either reported to be a fellow officer or perhaps even me or somebody else here at OVSD, and they're looking for you to click on something. I suggest that you give us a call or refrain from clicking on that until you confirm that it's indeed true.
Especially if it says it came from you.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Get rid of that one right away.
We did receive an interesting call from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which was it was technically, I think it was the FBI the first time they called us, and we weren't sure if it was a spoof. Dan did a great job in taking the guy's name and then hanging up the phone and searching online and finding indeed it was a real guy. It really was at some location, and we phoned him up and they worked through. What they found out was that we had an issue with a piece of equipment. We've subsequently ceased using that piece of equipment, and we've made all the precautions to air gap our system from many bad actors. But what's important is that the threat is real, and so caution everyone accordingly.
They made the CISA is under the security, so they're serious.
Well, and I've heard and read that there have been incidences, at least probing, maybe not successful, that are related to a certain country that we are engaged in incursions.
Still,
Yeah, very hostile, and that's where infrastructure water systems, sewer systems as weaknesses. And so, yeah, I agree. It not only is it real, but it's also, you know, a lot of times when you get challenged that way, it sensitizes you to be aware in a way, because we can go into complacency until you realize somebody's trying to breach things. So anyway, okay. All right. Is there anything else, Scott? Okay. Well, having said that, we have anything else, or shall I adjourn?
I've got a comment I'd like to make.
Say again?
I want to commend Allison and her staff for putting out a very easy budget to read. And it's good form.
Thank you, Director.
Yeah. Very much so. Very good. Okay. It's 7:24. I'm going to adjourn this meeting of the Ojai Valley Sanitary District Board of Directors.